What do you mean by that?
People dislike me because I am not completely like them.
And in what way are you different?
This influences my thinking and consequently my actions.
What is it you're trying to do with your life?
I am trying to do with my life something which few people try to do. And this influences my thinking and consequently my actions. Yes,
And what is that?
I am not completely like other people.
What do you mean by that?
People dislike me because I am not completely like them.
And in what way are you different?
Attention. Attention. Can you hear me? Going down today, boys. Feedback stream number 40. We're going in for the win. I'm gonna pull up Old Faithful. And I'm gonna pull up that chat. We have 13 submissions. Basically, 7 more can get in. Go into the description. Discord is there. Submit your track. Going down. We're going to see who's first in line. We have oh, don't know where it is. Don't know where it is. It's right here. We got 1, 2. Bye. Tripex. Just a quick drop. Let me know what you think. Posted in the Gen, but didn't realize that wasn't the live feedback channel until now. Parentheses. Oh, okay. Interesting one. I'm about to play this here. Let me just look at this chat real quick. Hello, guys. Me are a little bit tinier than usual. Am I tiny? What do you mean? Talking about Willie? The song is my song called Suffocation on my SoundCloud. SoundCloud Suffocation. Dripment. It's the rhythm. All right, guys, we got Tripex on lockdown. He's coming in for the 1-2 one time, maybe for the 1-2 time. It looks like a short clip. Ableton auto warped this when I brought it in. It's 35 seconds, so we're gonna give it a 2-time listen. We'll call this the 2-time run through. Get it? Tripex up on the 1s and 2s. Okay, we got some rhythm functions up in here, you know what I mean? Honestly, there's like no sub in this, so I thought it was about to drop hard, but the energy is lower than usual because there's not like that heavy sub. We should be able to feel the sub, not just hear the sub. It's really important. The sub frequencies live 100 hertz and below, you know? Look here. So if we were to grab ourselves a LUF meter to measure how loud our lows are playing at, you can see you're coming in about -15, you know what I mean? Hold at a -15, you know what I mean, for the 1-2. Look, we're getting a little bit higher in some ranges. Overall though, sub should be in the single digits at least, you know, like -9 at least, but then preferably all the way up to like -6. And on top of that, if you're post-processing that sub, like adding effects to it, adding anything to it, you could really mess up your sine wave. You have to have a clean sine wave, and then separately you can have distortion if you want it. Have 2 of them playing at the same time, but two separate things, you know, because you need that clean sine. You don't want to mess up your sine. I use G-clip a lot though to get my sine wave pumping. I would suggest the same. Like if you got the G-clip right here, just added it to these lows. You see, we start pushing them up. I don't even feel. Is it farts in the background or a voice? That's what Vlad said. I still don't feel any bass in this. Very odd. Maybe it's because my shades are on. Can't be. Am I tripping? Nope. Something's going on. So like, if we were to get this, let's try to put it on another song. We should be able to feel these lows. Let's try this song. You can feel some lows. Now, the lows from this are coming more from that kick. But the actual sub that's playing is pretty low volume. Right? To see if you can tell the difference. Now, also, if you're using any like pitch bend at the beginning of your sub, it shouldn't be too much. Also, let's check, see if that's what we have. No, it's just a kick. The kick is just overpowering the sub, and there's not really any sub, and it's just a very unbalanced mix when it comes to the low frequency. So I really would start to measure out your frequencies, start using G clip or any clipper to really pump your sine wave up and get it loud and fat pumping. It'll help, definitely help. Right now, these are your lows with the G clip on and with the G clip off. Right back on. You can see you can turn it up and get some more gain. I usually do that a lot. Like, just get an easy sine wave on serum. This is the easiest way to make a sub, really. Get serum. Head to basic shapes. We only do the sine wave. Levels all the way up, master all the way out. Just turn that thing up, no effects. When you play the note, always make sure you're in octave 0. Look at the bottom left. I'm changing it with Z and X on my keyboard. I'm going to octave 0. Need to be in octave 0. Then with my notes from A, S, D, F, G, H, J, K, L. With my keys, I can use the sub, but A is C, the C note, because C is where everything starts. C, D, E, F. Like this is the D. Then you can get a saturator. Add an EQ to it. Low pass it. Saturator off. On. Then, if you have kick tight, this is the magic sauce, basically. You can tune it. See how you can tune it to your root note? Put that boy on D for drip minor. Easy sub, easy fast sub. You can turn the saturator down if you need to. That's really the main thing that we need to get this energy a lot higher. There's a lot of nice basses going on. Now, when it comes to the flow, the main riff goes on for almost too long. It starts to become predictable and repetitive. You really want to start like opening up space. There should be space for fills and space for calls. It shouldn't just be the response playing the whole time. You have to go back and forth, which creates movement, and so people dance. Listen here. Like at the end of the phrase, like right here, you'd basically have some silence. And you would repeat a pattern like this of creating silence for your fills as the drop goes on. Basically, literally every 4 bars that plays, there should be a call, a response, and a fill. Every 4 bars. And you have a 32 bar drop, most likely. So you can see how many fills and calls and different movement changes you need to be like at minimum super danceable. Listen to this. That's where silence would come. Then we'd go back. So this is kind of a sporadic call. With this, there's not much timing into this. It's more just like random kicks playing at random timing. The vocal is really muffled and muddy. Can't really understand what it's saying. And then there's no silence to break up the 2 phrases. So I'd recommend adding some silence, adding like a transition element so that you can transition between these 2 important phrases or sections of the phrase. Yeah, I would definitely get a reference track of artists that you really like. You know, these artists are getting paid a lot of money for a reason. They're touring for a reason because they figured out the sauce. They figured out all the tricks, all the ways to make people dance, all the ways to get energy as high as possible. It's really important, you know? And a lot of this has been learned over time, right? As electronic dance progresses, we just start learning from the people behind us that were pioneers, right? Before Skrillex, there was no festival dubstep. You know what I'm saying? Not like it is now, where it's mega high energy. We're just pushing the limits of loudness, pushing the limits of energy. In the future, guys, I mean, just look at CES. You can see it's the future, and the music is moving the future, and we have to be part of that. So at minimum, mix should be clean, loud, high energy, low. Should have calls, responses. There should be lots of movement. Every phrase should be brand new and unique to the listener, and energy just progresses over time. Hope you guys remember these important things, because we're getting on the next submission. We have, I don't even know right now. We have Z. Who is this? Put your name in the chat, man. Put your SoundCloud link in the chat. SoundCloud links, please. When you submit, we can download it easy, and we can see your name and go to your SoundCloud if we need to. But we have Atrix or Atrix by Z. Let's get it done for the get done. Music time. Turn up your speakers, turn up your volumes, engage your headphones. Oh, sorry. For the one time. Let's go.
Hit 'em with a little bit of. Hit 'em with a little bit of bass. Hit 'em with a little bit of.
I like to have two orders of bass. I thought I was going to say. Let's go.
We know you don't sleep because the party don't stop. So put your hands on me and turn me awesome. It's you.
That is from the mysterious Z. Atrix. Is it what it's called? Let me check the chat to see if the chat has been chitting about the name of this person who made this song of decent quality. Let's check the chat of chitting. The chitting of chats. Anonymous. So, this is cool. This reminds me of being at, where the silent disco was at Lost Lands. That stage is like a forest, like you're in the forest stage, and there's a lot of wonky shit going on there. And I remember listening to types of wubs like this in there, and it was just amazing. You know, it was setting the standard for the wooks, the wook wubs, the trappy wook wubs, as we should say. With this song, we're getting really close to that level, you know. We're loud, we're decently clean in the mix. You know, there's space for all of our elements. Some of the big issues are timing in the vocals. Some of the sections in your drop sound empty, which is definitely an issue, because when it starts to sound empty, then the energy levels go low, or you get like, the point is you want to get people lost in the sound, right? And you get them lost in the sound right off the rip at the drop. So this is the start of the drop. That's our 4-bar phrase. So good energy built up here. This right here is super impactful. It is super trippy when you hear it. This would go off at the festival, you know. But once we start to progress through this 4-bar phrase, the energy levels start to not get lost in the sound, because there's too much space. You can see visually there's a lot of space. Dynamics is good, but we need balance between sound and silence. Like during these phrases, this is something that should be pretty loud and intense and in your face like this. But instead it's pretty empty because of this fill. And then this right here is pretty empty as well, which is a very important, this is the end of the phrase, so this is a very important transition element to the next phrase, the next 4 bars. So this and this need to basically be amped up in energy. And all you would have to do is really just fill up your silences, and just know that these silences here that you already have are enough for the 4-bar phrase. And then you can kind of repeat the same pattern so we can get proper flow structure. And you here in this phrase, you have your bass coming here on your offbeat, which is this 0.4. Our offbeats are the 0.2s and the 0.4s. Now we're filling up that space in this, and it sounds fuller compared to this section. This is the beginning of the drop though, so we want it, because remember the whole buildup was super intense, super loud, so we want there to be a huge dynamic shift, which happens here, and it's really good. But later on in the phrase, it starts to get empty, then we come back, it starts to get full again. But then we go empty again in this fill. You really want to pay close attention to these bars at the end of the phrase. These are really important to transition and keep the energy high. So this section is making the energy levels go lower when really it should be making it go higher, and then it just keeps going up each 4-bar section. See, now everything's starting to fill up. More basses are playing. It's starting to sound good. And then when you get to the breakdown, you can definitely like start to filter out the sub or start to change the sub so it doesn't sound so like static, like the same as the drop. Because you play that sub the same rhythm throughout the whole drop. So you can definitely start to switch it up here and it will make a difference. There's also static in the end when you're filtering. So when you're choosing a filter, you should make sure you start filtering out sooner so we can hear the filter as soon as it breaks down. Going pretty slow, and then once we enter the filter, you hear static. This happens a lot with auto filters and stuff, so I just recommend using an EQ8 and filtering it that way. You try to get the cleanest filter out or filters in without any static in your lows. What'll happen. But the most important part is the timing in the vocals. Unfortunately, vocals are not always easy. And you have to warp them sometimes. And sometimes they don't start perfectly on the start of a grid point, you know, like one of these lines. Sometimes they start like right before. So you have to like really fill it out and just make sure you have the original timing. If you don't have the original timing of the vocals, then you need to figure it out with a BPM counter. You can do tap BPM. So just tapping your keyboard to the beat, right, will find the BPM of whatever you're listening to. So like the vocal should say the BPM in it. Like
Room was shaking.
yeah, there's 175 or all these 145. These are important because when we throw it in Ableton and you double click, you have to put the original speed in this section. BPM. You hit warp, unwarp to activate it, or unwarp and then warp. And then this is the original BPM. Sometimes it's really wrong. Ableton tries to guess it and it's wrong. And then you type in the right one. And once you type in the original BPM, then it lines up perfect on your grid. And then from there, you have to figure out how to place it in your arrangement so that it's in time with your song. Because if you just place it randomly, it won't flow with the way your drums are playing or the way your ARP is playing, for example. So this vocal, we can hear it start to go off time. Let's listen. Okay, so it was in time from here, and then it starts to go off of time right here. You guys can definitely hear it. She like starts to like talk really fast all of a sudden. It's just very unnatural, off time. Singers and rappers, the reason they're doing this is because they like the timing is just super easy for them. So when they record it, the timing should always be right. Some singers aren't perfect singers, so they might be singing the wrong notes, and we can use auto-tune and stuff to fix that, but she's not really singing too much. It sounds good, her singing, but it's really the timing we're focused on, the rhythm, how she's saying her words. So literally, it only sounds like this section. The rest of these sections are fine. You can pass with those timings, that's fine, but this you'll have to just rewarp, readjust. Cool. And then you'll sound professional basically all the way through, except for this pre-drop. I mean this fake out.
Hit 'em with a little bit of bass. Hit 'em with a little bit of.
Good pre-drop. Then when we get into the fake out, it's like very low energy.
Hit 'em with a little bit of bass.
So you just want to make sure you get it like thicker. You can go harder with your filter. You can add the sub if you want to let the sub play with this and just have no drums. That's usually a good move. We just need a lot of energy here because you built energy in the build up, and then once we get to this fake out, we go like down in energy, and then we hit this drop, which sounds cool, and then and it delivers. Cool. So yeah, second drop sections, timing in the vocals, fade out in the back. Lots of easy fixes. Hit me up if you need help. Good job. That was Wubby. That was Wookie. That's what we want to hear. People will go crazy to that stuff, you know, because people are on, you know, that cereal, a good cereal. Let's see. Get Busy is up next. Looks like this is an update. Looks like it has been updated. We have 5 new submissions, it looks like. Let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 new submissions. 4 new submissions. Okay. 3 more submissions left. Let me load these up real quick. Oh wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay. 3 more slots left to get in if you want to submit. I'm gonna download these real quick. You know what I'm saying? And then we're gonna run it. If you know what I'm saying for the 2 time. 2 time saying. Okay. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. I'm getting these. Where they at though? Here they come, yo. Oh yeah. What you know, yo. Oh yeah. Do. Alright, we're getting in live. Hold on. Hold. Uh-oh. Oh no, we're good. Okay, hold command. And put them in. It's a done deal. Hold on, let me. Okay. What you know? Okay, get busy. What you know about that? His name is Kaname. Or is it Kaname? That guy. Kaname. Okay. Get it done.
Who the fuck is it that with it right now? Get busy with the witty right now. I'ma get busy with it right now. I'ma get busy with it right now. Busy with it right now. I'ma get busy with it right now. Get busy with it right now. I'ma 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 get busy with
right, that's Get Busy by That Guy Anime. You submitted this last week, and I gave a lot of feedback on this song last week. I don't hear much that was changed. One of the things I'm pretty disappointed I didn't hear you change is this riser. I mean, if you're resubmitting a song to this stream where I only let 20 people in, I think you should at least try to fix all of the things I gave you feedback on so that you can, try to improve and try to get better. I spend a lot of time going over specific things in the songs that you can improve and try to give you suggestions. If you ever need help or have questions on the feedback, you can DM me on Instagram or on Discord, and that's how I help people all the time. You should definitely do this. There's a lot of, because it sucks having to say the same thing over and over again. But I'm going to do it. But just remember, guys, this applies to everyone. Okay, so the beginning, you need to add lows. In this whole intro, we don't have the full frequency spectrum filled, lows, mids, and highs. So it's very low energy and it sounds empty. That's not low. That's not a bass. That's not a sub. When I say lows, that's 0 to 100 hertz sub frequencies. That sound we're hearing is like mid bass, which is 100 to 1,000 hertz and above. And that's the frequency spectrum that's slightly getting filled when this plays. Then we have a vocal, and then it's pretty empty. There's a riser in the background, very low volume. But it just sounds very unfinished. I would start to layer more things in here, really amp up the energy so that people don't skip the intro and go straight to the drop. You want to keep them entertained right away. And then in these build-up sections, you can add more layers, more claps, snares, like drum build-ups are what you're looking for. And then you'll layer in like mini sweeps and mini risers, like 8 to 12 to 13 of them. That's how much I do at very low volumes to really just start pumping up energy. You can EQ the ones that need to be EQ'd. You don't want to stack lots of low frequencies, so you're going to be EQing most of them. Just be aware of that, how you're layering everything together. Okay, so we're going to listen to the timing here of the build-up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but this is overextended and it goes on too long. When you listen to the build-up and the transition, it sounds like we have extra in here, and like I'm repeating myself because I am. But you have to listen your whole thing in context, because if you just start listening right here while you're making it, you're going to think that timing is right because it sounds right, but it's not right, because when you listen to the full buildup and you listen to the timing, it should drop earlier. And that's like super important. If it's building up and people expect it to drop and it doesn't drop, that's a sin. Don't want to do that. Got to drop it. Timing is important. If you DJ, then you would be practicing timing a lot. So if you're not DJing now, I recommend starting to DJ, really learning timing, and like you have to be perfect at timing when you're producing. And same thing with these singers. They have to be perfect at timing. When you hear a singer like Blueface rapping off time, it's a mess. All right. Riser, mid-bass layering is the next thing we're going to go over. So if you compare your mid basses, like the dubstep basses, to your drums, like the hi-hat, for example, the ride. That is the loudest thing in the drop when it definitely shouldn't be. The mid basses should be the loudest and up front, and you'll use layering. So you'll layer like a high frequency bass with a mid frequency bass, then that would be layered with your sub. Then you got the frequency spectrum filled. Then you layer mono and stereo. You layer a middle signal, a middle bass, something that's playing in the mono, which also is middle, and then something that's playing in the sides, which is stereo. So both of those areas in the stereo image need to be filled for it to sound full, for it to be heavy, for it to sound clean, for it to sound professional. This is basic knowledge that's taught at audio engineering school. And to be honest, if I never went to audio engineering school, I would have never even known to look up this stuff, you know? So that's why I'm here for you guys, to really shed some light on audio quality, making it crisp, clean, loud. That's how you do it. Layering first, frequency spectrum, stereo image. Those are two separate things. And lastly, the magic sauce and the magic trick, parallel processing. So you basically duplicate your signals so that they get louder and cleaner at the same time. Watch the parallel processing video that I made so that you can get really good at it, because that is basically the trick. It's the magic trick. Do it. It'll help you. All right. That's that guy, Kename, with Get Busy. Up next, we have Basics with Black Heart. Nowhere near fine. Nowhere near final. Not even close. Not even close. I like that title for a WIP. Let's go.
I keep hesitating, life it kept going on, kept going on. Stuck inside this cage I made for way too long, for way too long. Now I'm staring at the starlight, waiting for directions, guiding the way. In this life you keep on crashing, and I keep collapsing, I lose my faith. 59 gone night, and it's risk for long until I'm alright. I think maybe it's a marathon.
Let's start. As the mammoth enters.
Do it wrong and do it right. In the end I will be fine. Darkness can't escape the light. Keep looking forward, never look behind. No, one day I will suffice. I'm gonna catch this high. Keep searching, I can lose myself. Listen to me, I'm urgent. What can they come tell? Life trip on excursion, I am doing well. And it's patience, I'm not urgent, and I'm dodging now. Dodging now. 69 gone night, and it's risk for long until I'm alright. I think maybe it's a marathon.
Let's go. That's basics. Coming in hot with, what do you call that? Blackheart. Nowhere near final. I mean, it's sounding nice, sounding good. This is awesome. There's really only one section here where the vocals sounded like out of tune, which I think you need to double check on real quick. Oh yeah, right here when he says star. So yeah, there's this thing called Melodyne. You load that boy up. It'll actually like tell what notes the vocals are singing at, and then you can literally move the notes. Oh, I just got my new computer, so I have to activate. Come on, Melodyne. Oh man. See these little things? It'll load up on here and you can just move it up and down to the key you want. Super awesome. We're not going to do it right now, but you should definitely do it so you can see what note he's singing. And if it's not in your scale, you can just simply move it to one of the notes in your scale. Melodyne has it all set up and ready for you. It is magic. School taught me that. And what the pros use all the time when singers don't know how to sing, which is basically him. He isn't hitting his note properly in this section. Every other section sounds fine. And like that's the difference between like a really, really, really mega good singer who is super consistent and never misses a note, and then like a good singer like this. So you always have to be aware of these things because it just, you know, people who have good ears can tell, and then people who sing can tell, and you just want it to be clean. People who play piano as well will be able to tell. Now, these sections should be louder. When we're playing an important section like this, like a breakdown that's like leading up to the build up, we need to be healthily in the single digits. And now we're at -10. -9 we just peeked into. So we should be hitting like -7. You know, -8, -7, -6. Keep it right under the build, which is about -5, leading up to our -3 drop. Cool. Then once we get to the drop, the lows sound nice. But I don't know if you guys can tell, like the mid basses, the guns, the tearout guns, they don't sound as clean and clear as they should, like not enough clarity. They're almost like kind of behind the scenes a little bit and a little bit muffled. This is normal because when we add post-processing and effects and stuff, it makes the sounds do crazy things, you know? Gets it out of the front of the mix. So then we have to readjust with parallel processing so that we can keep that awesome effects wide, wet signal, but then bring in a dry, clear signal that's in your face so that we can have both together. That's the magic of parallel processing. Basically what Murata does. Like you can tell, if you can try to tell the difference between the sub in the middle and this bass and how it lives in the middle, the sub starts to become like louder and more upfront in the mix. And that's just because it's in the middle and this is more spread out. You could easily have a layer that's in the middle with the sub so that it becomes more upfront in the mix. But like I said, I mean, this layer is important. This reverb, amazing space that's created is needed. And then these dynamic shifts from going super loud to quiet is everything. Ooh, okay, so then now you can hear a bass that just pops through and cuts through the mix very cleanly. That gun right there. Compared to the other ones, you can now tell that the other ones sound muffled compared to kind of how clear it should sound. And then it comes again, so you can like literally tell the difference in the clarity of these two basses when all of them should be at the same clarity as this one that pops through real quick. Same thing with these respaces. I mean, these are important. These are placed very well. I'm just saying your song structure is awesome. These are placed well. The energy's high. We just have to get your mix as clean as possible because you have so much complex, distorted basses playing at the same time, multiple spaces layered together. So you're just getting into advanced mixing now. So parallel process these Reeses. The sustain, you see it's in the background. Like some sounds need to be in the background, and that's where we want it to be. Well, this is good. Good job, dude. I like it. Very good. Nowhere near final. I want to know your thoughts on where you think it is. If you're in the chat, put it in or DM me whenever you see this. Yeah, dude. Good job. You're improving a lot. I'd love to see it. All right. That's Basics with Black Heart. Up next, we have Zika.wave with Float Step. Zika WIP. 1, 2, 3. All right, we're accepting this. Alrighty. Okay, let's get on the Float Step.
Yeah, I'm full. Yeah, I'm fly. Yeah, I'm fly. I'm on the way to you right now, so don't you cry. You don't cry. Riding around and testy, ain't it really honest? Yeah, riding around with some flashy in Balenciaga. Riding around with a fly bitch, she my biggest problem. Yeah, riding around on walk hard, might get you give you out. Yeah, T.I. my niggas, diamond certified. Yeah, smoking 41, bitch, I'm much a five. Outside, yeah, bitch, I'm verified. Like running money and then diamond less petrified. I could cut it, pull up, give it ghost, bitch, I'm a put to guys. Always do my time on fucking hoes. Baby, yeah, I'm baby, yeah, I'm coño de su madre.
Ay, Dios mío.
Zaka. That's how you say it. Was I saying it like that? Damn it. Okay, that was called Float Step by Zeka. Float Step. I don't understand what's called Float Step. That sounded like some gangsta step. This is like Poltergeist. That's pretty cool vocal. I gotta say, this intro got me feeling cool. Sounds really quiet. It is very quiet. It's -12. You need to be in the single digits for show. Cool. Now, when we get here, fake out, the sub should be going at the same rhythm as the mid basses. The sub is like going a different rhythm, and it really messes up the energy. The sub goes boom, boom, boom. But the mid bass is going faster than that. The sub should be going to the rhythm of that bass, and then you want to make sure there's a little bit of space between each note so that you can tell there's a difference between each note. That's what adds the energy. If it just sounds like the sub is sustained in one sub, it doesn't sound as cool, man. It doesn't work as good, man. My neck is sore from the headbanging. Eshin Sisto show, my guys. And this background atmosphere that you have playing at the drop, it's like the that's like a flute. I like flute, but not in this drop section. That dang flute is clashing with the mix. It's kind of trying to overtake the mix, like the Undertaker, but the Overtaker. Got to be careful with these sounds in the background. Make sure you EQ them, right? Cut all the lows first off, and then turn it down to a point where you can barely hear it, where it's not audible, but you can feel it. That's the point of something being in the background. You can feel it, but not hear it. There's a difference. So that is important to be aware of, but then at the same time, the sound in general is just the wrong sound for this section. It needs to be like, darker, eerier. The flute is like the flute is why I call it float step. Now I get it. Well, if you want to incorporate a flute in your dubstep drop, you have to do it in a different way than this. You would use it as like a call. It would be like, like going back and forth between the flute and the bass rather than having them both play at the same time, because they're like competing for rhythmic dominance and frequency dominance. Then it's very empty. Should not be sounding this empty. You could just add cool basses, cool respaces, or bass glitches. There's so many different cool things. You don't even have to design anything from scratch. You could just pull up one shots start transposing them in, you know, notes that are in your scale. Just easily swatch out of there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Okay, and then lastly, we're getting on to the second drop, man. So this is a section that starts to sound very messy because the bass rhythms are like clashing. You have multiple rhythms playing at the same time. The listener has no idea what to focus on because there's multiple speeds going at the same time that are clashing. And at the same time, there's no call and response. So this whole phrase, this 8-bar section, just sounds like a lot of basses playing at the same time, and there's no structure. In the back, you can hear a sustain going. That's one of the main sounds that's clashing with the main rhythm. If your main rhythm is doing so much movement, the other bass shouldn't. If the other bass wants to do a lot of movement, you got to clear open some space. So then you would make your main bass, the you'd switch that rhythm up to just a regular quarter note flow, which is the dubstep staple flow. That's the main flow you're usually going to be using. And that'll open up more space for that sustain bass, and you can mix it in. Your sub is doing the quarter note bass, which you would just now layer the mid bass to the sub's rhythm. And then that'll be a good start to you know, let the rhythms work with each other. You know, you have to support each other like a whole fam. Then call and response. So it's just the same flow. It's so that's the same flow. We need to be able to switch. Like the call could be a different flow, something long, like and then halfway through, after the 4 bars ends, you'll have the call again that's doing a different flow than the responses, because that's how we go back and forth. That's how people dance, literally. It'll be like brown. And then see, this is the end of the 8 bars, a very important transition section, because we transition from the first 8 bars to the next 8 bars. This is good. Silence, nice pre-drop, cool little kick transition. Then you start to change up the rhythms and add a new sustain, so that's cool. You just want to make sure that every 4 bars you're adding more movement rather than every 8 bars, because that will speed up the energy. Yeah, baby. All right. Good job, Zeka. Ask any questions if you have any, and let me know what you think about that. And we're going on to the next person about to buy a new Cadillac. This is Culturate. Ha. Medionette remix by Culturate or Cult Root. Sorry. Let me know in the chat. Do one of those pronunciation things with the parentheses. Maybe. Let's get it in. Let's get it in. Filtrate. Let's go. Yeah. Ah, very nice ending, nice outro. I really like the vibes of the intro and the outro, you know, got me feeling like I'm really at a festival, lost in the woods. Feeling good, man. This is what I like to see. It's very quiet, though. I mean, I want you to check the LUFS of our intro. We're at negative 19, which is negative 22. 23, which is way too quiet for any section of your song. Just so you know, podcast voice volume is negative 16 LUFS. You should definitely be louder than that. Usually we, like, minimum would be like negative 12 LUFS, you know, for something that you want to be really quiet. So like this section, your quietest section of the song, you'd be hitting negative 12 LUFS, not negative 23. Then in this section, it starts to get louder. This should be hitting in the single digits, around like negative 8, negative 7 LUFS. But this is actually the section that's negative 10. So we'll get this up louder to like the negative 7. And once we get to the drop, this is going to be the loudest part of the song, which should be around like negative 6 to negative 3. You know, negative 3 is really loud, like a Murata song. And then we're hitting negative 3 here. So you got your drop volume fine. The drop flow, though, let's listen. So basically, the fake out, the first snare is when we can start dancing, basically. So let's listen to when we hear that first snare, because we automatically want it to hit on a certain place. It doesn't. It's actually delayed. Listen. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the way this is structured, like this whole transition section, the energy leads for a snare to be hitting basically like a bar before it actually does. It hits right here at this 0.3, but it's just too late. So then the flow fills off, and it's a really important section right here because this is the first drop. This is the first downbeat of the drop. We waited for the whole intro for this section. It's the most important. So energy levels are high. It needs to be released perfectly after that build-up. You build the tension and release it at that perfect time. And then this, there's no kick. The kick's out. There's no sub. It's very low energy. You at least want that sub to be playing. And the sub doesn't come into here. And this is a common pattern you see throughout the song. You cut the sub and it becomes very empty, very low energy when the sub should be there. So in the other sections like this, like there's no reason for there to be no sub right here. It's like a fake out removes the drums. Usually not the sub. The sub is, this is bass music. Remember, the sub is the most important thing. And if the timing is calling, like once we listen to this drop, this phrase, and we get transition to this, like we need high energy. And if you remove the high energy by removing the sub, that's a big problem. So look, you already did your fake out right here. You do your call right here. This is 2 sections with no sub. And then you still keep the sub removed. So gotta fix all these sections. This is a common pattern throughout the whole song. You gotta fix every section where you do that. And then regarding the flow, so if you like study how Murata does this flow, you can see he'll go long bass and then he'll get into the actual like guns, or the other way around. So long bass, and then from this long bass, then we go into the guns. So like, and gosh, remember sub, get the sub in there. So you can listen, it's every 4 bars is where you do big transitions, big changes. Because if you kept it the way you do, which is just long bass for another 4 bars, it becomes super repetitive. Energy levels start to die down. Because we literally just heard this. So, and it's going really slow. So it's like super predictable. Like we know what's going to happen and it's taking so long to end. And you don't want anyone to be feeling that. You have to be switching up between these main sections. And all you'd have to do is just add, it goes long bass to guns, rather than long bass, gun, gun. And please use reference tracks. You'll see these are the tricks and methods that our favorite tarot artists use to keep the energy levels high and keep them dancing hard. And then please check your subs. In these long bass sections, the sub is very weak, very low intensity. Compared to all those super high frequencies and mids, you want to get that sub balanced out. And that should be about it. Oh yeah, last thing, the snare, very weak. You want to layer this thing to get it really thick, fat. It should have a lot of low end with it. Like you did good finding a punchy snare, but now you need to layer this punchy snare with like low end snares and just get it super punchy, super transient-y. It has to have lows in it. Because right now it's not blending in with the mix. Listen to Casket VIP by Murata, I think. That's the snare. I mean, just listen to that snare, dude. I mean, holy crap. Maybe I can actually find it right now. This is basically the standard we need to get to when we're having these super complex and layered. So that is more of a clap. I think it's actually in Pestilence with Agony. Probably Agony that hell is part of the reason why. Yeah, okay, so listen to the snare here. You hear how it's like wide as well? So lots of mid, get that snare thick, make sure it's in the middle and in the sides, then you'll be good to go. All right, up next we have, oh yeah, that was Cult Rate. Oh, I mean, Jesus, I already missed. How do you say it? Dude, I am so bad. Cultrate. Is that what it? Oh, I see. Cultrate. Alrighty. The V's mean 2 different things in your names. A U and an A. So, sorry. I was a little bit Confucius. Up next, we have Ecto Drip coming in with Cry For Me, WIP. Let's get it done. All right. Someone from Russia is here. Greetings from America. I'm glad you're here. Let's get into Cry For Me.
I smell the blood of everyone. Cry for me a little, let me bask in the glorious sound. Cry for me a little. 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 I seek souls.
Okay, I see you. This is pretty short. We can run it back one more time. Cry For Me. Annihilate. I love hearing some guns. Your guns are at nice fast speed, and it's good to hear. The guns don't stand out in the mix as much as they should. They should have more clarity. They should be up front. If we listen. So like, listen to your kick and compare the loudness and clarity of the kick to the mid basses now. See how like they're lower in volume and kind of sound almost like an EQ is removing high frequencies almost. That's not what's happening, but once you start to add effects and stuff like reverb, it starts to spread out in the stereo image and you start to lose it. It starts to go behind the scenes in the mix. Even the choir is louder and more upfront in the mix than the guns, which is an issue. Okay, and then flow-wise, it's really busy because every 4 bars you should have some movement, and you're actually keeping 2 different sustains play. So in this section, you should actually have it clear up, have more space. So no sustain, just the quarter note, just the basic. We had the sustains playing here, so we go from like a noisy filled mix to a more stable, clean mix, and then you go back and forth between the loudness and the quiet. Prosecute does this all the time, and he's so good. He sounds so heavy when he does those dynamic shifts. So you can add a lot of energy by doing that, and I recommend you practice listening to your whole drop in context so that you can get those types of flows. And then make sure you EQ that choir. The choir is pretty loud. Lots of lows are playing, so you want to EQ it so that it blends in with everything else. It shouldn't be taking so much of the mix, too dominant. And really, it should just be supporting. Like right there. Yeah, the choir is like, all of a sudden, we pay attention to that when the whole attention should be on those guns. And then the choir is just adding this like extreme harmonic background and rhythmic flow that just gets people into a different dimension. That's simple. All right, now I am going to pull up this next track. I'll be right back. I'm going to go to the restroom. One moment. For the one time.
Yes.
And what is that?
I am not completely like other people.
What do you mean by that?
People dislike me because I am not completely like them.
And in what way are you different?
This influences my thinking and consequently my actions.
What is it you're trying to do with your life?
I am trying to do with my life something which few people try to do. And this influences my thinking and consequently my actions. Yes.
And what is that?
I am not completely like other people.
What do you mean by that?
People dislike me because I am not completely like them.
And in what way are you different? What is it you're trying to do with your life?
I am trying to do with my life something which few people try to do. And this influences my thinking and consequently my actions.
I'm sorry. Oh god. Bruh. No way. Hold on. I mean, like a 1 minute. This guy just came here to check out the room. I'm moving to my own place, and my roommate invited a guy to look at the room while I'm filming live. He just came in here, checked out the room while I'm filming live. He doesn't even know what's going on. He doesn't know he doesn't know the heat that's going on in here. I'm sorry for the intermission. Let me hydrate with some H2Os. Okay. Up next, we got... Oh yeah, good job, Ecto Drip with Cry For Me. Up next, we got Snasta. He's coming in hot. We got Sreet. Let's go ahead and get into it. This should be a dancer. Hold up. Yeah. Snasta as usual coming in with some heat. I see a fire in the corner. I'll put that out later. Okay, so we got some really nice heavy rhythm going on here. Good flow. It was like, there's barely anything wrong with the mix. It's like a little bit muddy, you know, but that's really it. Let's take a listen. Look at how loud we are as well with -2 LUFS. So either the sub is a little bit too loud, or and it's clipping a little too hard, or the main mid bass, the main lead, needs to have like stronger EQ in the lows and a better low cut. Whenever I do low cuts with something like this, I won't cut it harshly. I'll basically like turn it down like this. So we'll let a little bit of the lows come through, and then we like turn it down here in the mud section. And then from here, you can like raise it up and down to taste, kind of like balance it into the mix. And then you can also move this left and right to taste, to also balance it within the mix. So that is the first and main thing that you want to pay attention to. Let's look at the transition between the drop. Oopsie daisy, the EQ's on. We don't want that EQ on. Wait. What? Turn it off. Okay, so listen to the downbeat. It's like a glitchy. And that's what we're going back and forth between. That glitch overpowers the main sound in the mix, so it's easy to go back and forth and it doesn't sound too repetitive. It does get a little bit repetitive after this first 4-bar section. Next 4-bar section should have a little bit more variation so that we can actually have something new to dance to. Otherwise, it's just like the same thing here. Rhythm, you know, old school rhythm would just be like 16 bars of the same exact thing. But, you know, music's evolving. Can't just get away with simple stuff like that anymore, my guys. This isn't Yaks. This isn't, no, not Yaks. What was his name? Fucking Monks. This isn't Monks. This isn't, old school wubbies, you know? Man, it used to be so easy back in the day. You just make a couple wubs, you get on. Like Skrillex. Change the game. All right, let's check out these transition variations. Love this sound right here. All the different movements going on, and you're adding a new piece of the frequency spectrum, like super highs, almost like reduxy sounding. This is helping a lot, definitely. This is going to add a lot more energy and keep the listener engaged all the way to the end of the drop. So really, this is the only section that needs like a little bit more improvement. Just like a slight variation to keep the energy going up. Sub sounds good though. Lots of harmonics, really nice. I would love to test this in the car to see exactly how powerful everything is, but good job with that. Good job, Snasta. Once again, sending in some heat. Okay, we got Angry Sounds WIP, High Drip by Scarpy. He says, not entirely sure about finishing this one. I like it, but can't quite figure out how to continue it yet. Flow ain't quite flowing. Okay, flow ain't quite flowing. You know, I've been there many times. I've been there majority of the times. For the first 7 years of my production career, I was never flowing. You know, I'd go on YouTube, look at my tutorials. There was no tutorials at the beginning. It was just difficult. I didn't even know what flow meant. But now, it's time to teach the flow. So what we're going to pay attention to is making it full. If your sounds don't sound full and thick, then it's going to feel low energy. It's going to be hard to catch the flow. So first, make them loud and proud with parallel processing. And then make sure that you fill the frequency spectrum lows, mids, highs, and fill the stereo image, mono, / middle, and then sides / stereo. After those are filled up, then we can rhythmically change the speed and patterns and timings of our basses to get flow. And then when it comes to the rhythmic flow, that's when call and response comes in. That's when you use 2 different sections, actually 3 different sections, call, response, fill, within a 4-bar phrase. So within 4 bars, there should be enough movement to make people dance and then transition to the next 4 bars, which should be slightly different. Let's get into it. That's what we're looking for. Angry Sounds WIP by Drip. Okay, cool. Angry Sounds. whip, high drip. Cool. So to be honest, I mean, if you compare these guns to, you know, the guns that we listen to in all the songs, the guns that we hear when we go to Lost Lands, the guns that are set in the standard, then you would actually argue that these are not angry guns. These are actually like thin guns. If you listen, the full frequency spectrum of your guns are not filled. It's like the majority of high frequencies and then like a sprinkle of mids. And then the lows are doing more work than anything. And it feels like there's a huge space in between the lows and the highs where the mid should be. There should be like multiple layers going on to create your gun. Plus, when you create your gun, you should have a sub layer, like a literal sub layer. And then you'll literally EQ it out after. And that sub layer will basically fill up the mud section, the middle frequency section, which is about 100 to 500 hertz. That's where all this mud buildup happens. But when we make our gun, we need to focus on filling that frequency spectrum as well. So like from right here to right here. Boom, boom. So when you create your gun, you'll be adding a sub that's in this. But after you resample it, you cut it out. But we still have the remaining harmonics from the sub that fill up this frequency spectrum. And then your gun will layer on top of these harmonics from the sub and then fill up everything above that as well. And then that's how we'll get the frequency spectrum filled. But then after you do that, then you have to make sure you have mono and stereo filled as well. Then you have your full gun. And then reverb would come up next. You control the space. You get it fitting nice. So I would definitely focus on gun control, gun frequency spectrum control, and gun imaging control. Oh, Lord have mercy. I apologize. Nice. This is sounding pretty decent with the flow. You know how the guns are moving, lots of triplets. You have a triplet build, which is really ideal. So then when you listen to these transition phrases, you add more guns in here. But the point of this phrase at the end of the 4 bars is to not be noisy and as loud as the first. So you adding these 2 guns at the end actually really hurts the overall flow of everything, because we want to go back and forth between the super high loud energy to like a little bit of silence, and then you get thrown back in perfectly on the downbeat right here. And that's how you create like intense dynamic shifts and ultimately make people dance really hard, because without that, then it's just not the same. If you reference Murata's tracks and reference the pros, that's a critical thing that they're doing. Let me do it again right here. Our first silent section. That's a cool silent section. That's awesome. And then here, it should not be silent again. You already did 2 silent sections. This is when you start adding cool, unique, different sounds. Like a yoy, like yoy. Cool. Nice. Overall, pretty decent. Lots of potential here. You can build on this and make a banger undoubtedly. Okay. Up next, good job, Scarpy. That's Angry Sounds Whip, High Drip. The flow ain't quite flowing. You can do it, my guy. Start using reference tracks. Look at how they're coming up with different flows. you'll see they're doing magical stuff, and then you'll start opening your mind on different rhythmic patterns that you can start using and different call and response structures that you can start experimenting with so that you can go to the next level. Beep, beep. I need a sound effect. All right, up next we have Akari. He said, just whip something up. We have 20 audio 001 2024 01 14 191828.wave. This is a great song title. This should be a banger. Let's get into it. Sick. Let me fix my green screen. Are we screening? Are we screening or we deaning? Let me double check on the checking. Okay. Checking done. Checking. All right, Akari. We got thrown into some guns here. Thrown into some tearout goodness. If you listen to the first guns, they sound a lot different than the other ones. Now this is a really nice high layer, but it sounds very empty without there being like any mids, just sub and high frequency. So definitely want some more mids to be playing with all these. Good sub though, really nice sub and good rhythm. Guns here still could use more layering. Really nice tones though with the highs. Really nice sustain here. Sub's awesome. Sub is really doing a lot of heavy lifting here, but the guns are just, they're sounding weak, you know. They're sounding cool. The tones are beautiful, but they're just sounding thin and weak because there's not enough layers, thickness. Sounds good though. I'm liking what I'm hearing. You need a build up for show. Keep on pumping, man. That's some good stuff. That's Akari coming in with 20 audio 0001 2024 01 14 191828. Killer. Okay. Up next we have Flog by the one and only Jackson. Let's get in. That was fun, dude. We gotta go back in there. Hold on. Come on. Come to the crowd. Come on. Don't be scared. It's the outer rim, dog. Come on. Let's go. Mr. Man. Damn, my God. Hold up. Ear rest. One quick ear rest. Anything to reduce tinnitus. Okay, guy. Coming in heat with that Flog. All right. So let's analyze, strategize, maximize, and see exactly why it sounds so crazy. The dynamic shift from basically silence, it's just static. This is -30. This is really silent. To -2 is intense. So when you get hit with this, it's already adding energy. And then we get just abruptly switched into heavy bass with very clean dynamics. Look at visually, you can see it split before the next note and it's clean. And if you can tell, there's like a couple of layers. There's not a billion basses going on. It's just a couple of basses, very clean, turned up, very high, and that blend well together. This is a perfect example of less is more. And then these locked up glitch transitions are insane. This is a song that will take you out of the, like you stop listening, right? And start feeling. And you actually stop analyzing the song. Like you can't even analyze the song because it just hits you so hard. You get lost in the sound. You get lost in the frequencies. And that is what we're looking for. Energy like that. This pre-drop being silent, we want, but this whole intro being super quiet, we don't. You definitely want to turn this stuff up, you know, get it to -12. And then, of course, you could still stick to the silence in the pre-drop, do this dynamic shift. That's freaking awesome. And continue the song, man. Finish this one. This is cool. Very experimental, new. You don't usually hear stuff like this. And this is like what people are looking for. A fun time, something that makes you move, something that sounds new. As our ears hear the same frequencies all the time. Jackson coming in hot. I don't even have much feedback to give you except good job. Hot shot with the Flog. You can skip to 50. Accidentally exported more than dropped. Dude. Dang. Just read that right now, but that's all good. Up next, we have Vlad coming in with a little VIP. The intro is rushed up. I started the song 8 hours ago during my sound design session. But I'm really proud of the drop, though. Just wanted to know if, like you said, I should stick to making melodic dubstep, or perhaps I can still make heavy wub-wubs. Happy face, in parentheses, SoundCloud link. That coming in hot with just foxing around. Let's get into it. Oh, shit. Let's go. Okay, I'm liking the melodics in here. So let's do a quick run back of this drop here. Good energy.
It is it. I wanna see you guys get the
Okay, to be honest though, okay, that's ear rest. Quick ear rest. Quick ear rest. To be honest, there's a delay. Okay, once again, we're getting back into this. If you listen without the buildup, if you listen not in context, then this sounds right. It sounds correct in timing. Because technically it is. But if you listen to the buildup with it and then listen to how it transitions, then you start to realize it's not perfect timing. Remember I was saying EDC, get your hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we get delayed. So right there. So looks like half a bar. Yep. Half a bar. Extra half a bar that shouldn't be there. This is making the energy levels lower. This could have been a perfect section to get it as high as possible. Basically this be here. It'll go clap thing. So actually it might be half of a half bar. You know what I mean? So you have to like restructure your timing because this actually shouldn't be there. There's a quarter note, an extra quarter note in here. It's just causing a ruckus. And then on top of this, the overall cleanliness of these main webs need to be improved upon. They're very muddy, very harsh sounding. They're not as clean as they should be. EQ needs to be used heavily, and you got to make sure you're not over compressing, and you want to make sure you're also layering. To get it loud, you don't want to over compress or over saturate. You really want to layer multiple things with compression and saturation so that they have their dynamic still, and you can maintain clarity with all your frequencies. Well, this is nice. There's a lot of energy in it. It's a good vibe. Good sounds. In these sections, though, you can definitely switch it up by using a different bass, because the same tone has been playing for 8 bars, and if you have the same tonality of the bass playing, and here it starts to sound repetitive. Even though you switch the rhythm, it's like still not enough to make it varied. And it just keeps playing. So I would definitely work on that too. The melodic switch ups and stuff, amazing. Definitely keep all that, but just restructure the tone of the bass. I mean, if you're using any synthesizer, you can literally automate a wavetable position or a filter cutoff and start to slightly adjust the tonality over time in the drop, and then boom, dude, you have multiple basses just with one little knobby. Good job, Vlad. Just foxing around. You know, just foxing around. Vlad said he spoiled himself with Lodian's song. He says this is insanely good. Okay. We got D&D coming in by the one and only Lodian. Let's go. Bum 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 dun dun. Yeah. Hit my sword. dog. Yes. Woo! Boy. Oh. Oh lordy. Someone get the cereal. Oh, bruh. Don't do it to him like that, man. Yes, sir. Oh. Fucking beautiful. Goddamn. Lodian. Lodian. What are you doing to them, man? Why you gotta do them like that? Guys, I'm sure you heard with your own ears. Something magical. You know? Talk about getting lost in the sound. Talk about not listening, not analyzing, literally just feeling. That's what we get out of this. There's only one thing that I heard in this that needs to be improved upon to make it literally go into the elite range with all of the people playing at Lost Lands, and that is your main basses, your main leads are not as clear and upfront as the mix as they should be. They still sound a bit muffled. This can be fixed with parallel processing if you do it the right way. Listen to the clarity, the loudness, and the crispness of your clap compared to the mid basses. We're listening to like how intense they feel, how loud they are, the frequencies that are emitted. Listen over here as well. Your strings sound louder than your mid basses, and the mid basses start to get lost. So they're there, but they're like spread out with the other melodic sounds. So they're like competing for space almost, and competing for like frequencies as well. So, but this is what we want. We want these sounds to be in here. So like mixing it is like finding this perfect fine balance of EQ. You're going to have to like do mid-side EQ and really just fit these frequencies perfect together. You have to parallel process your main bass lead so that it's balanced and as intense and it has to be as intense, as loud, and as clear as those synth melodic strings that are playing with it. This is really good, man. Your flow and your song structure is freaking amazing. Your melodics brings so much emotion and energy to the track that it makes you really want to play it again. There's just a lot of variation between all 4 bar sections. It's pretty crazy how much variation there is. And listen to those basses. So like now we can actually hear some basses that are clear up front and have clarity in the mix. And really your main leads should be as clear and upfront as these little wiggly basses. So like you can almost compare the 2 basses right next to each other in this section. So we got some clean upfront. You can hear the highs, right? Then we get into the main lead bass. The main lead bass is more right here. Here we can't really hear a lot of the frequencies. That kind of sounds like filtered out almost, but it's just getting lost in the mix because there's so much going on, really. Overall, man, this is a really awesome song. The hardest parts of making music, you have conquered. Sound design, music theory, song structure, composition. You are literally in the final stage. People back in the day, they would just send this song to a mastering engineer and they would polish it up, get it clean, and do all this that I'm telling you for you. But it's not 1993 anymore. You don't have to do that. You have now the tools, knowledge, and expertise to do it yourself. So you'll be mixing and mastering as you go, and you won't need to pay a mastering engineer to do something that you can do, yourself and much better. So you're entering the advanced mixing and mastering stage. Really work on mixing and mastering, and that's going to take you to the next level, man. It'll take you to the elite, and then we're going to be DJing together at Lost Lands, doing collabs. And I hope you know I didn't forget about our collab, man. When you get it, you're going to be happy. Lodian, I give it up for Lodian. Round of applause. Clap, 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 clappity clap. I hope you guys are clapping at home for the low. Up next, we have Kavito with Apocalypse. Parental advisory, explicit content warning. Please get your children away from the speaker system. I'm putting the record on the vinyl turntable, and I'm going to press the play button in 3, 2, 1. Bomb. Let's go. And introducing the one and only Tyrannosaurus Rex. Pump up. Pump up. Whoop, whoop, whoop. That is Apocalypse by Cavito. All right. Nice submission. You brought me into a world of sound that felt really nice right off the rip. This is good. Nice energy with the drum breaks. This is nice to see. This build-up, though, in the second drop, sounds very empty. You definitely want to get this layered up, get a lot more energy on this build-up. There's no lows in this section. There's like brass playing. There's a lot of instruments playing, all mids and highs. You need to fill the frequency spectrum and add some some bass. And then in the drop, the most important thing is really the lack of flow. There's a lot of different basses going on. They're playing at random times, at random volumes. There's not really any cohesion. They don't blend together. And on top of that, the basses sound like they're all like random presets from a sample pack rather than them being relatives of each other. Whenever you're designing sounds, you want to make other sounds that complement it, that sound similar so that they can blend together. But with this, it's really just a lot of different basses flying at you, and it's very hard to get a feel for the main theme or the main motif of the song. Like, we have so much going on and just, what is this? A bar. Okay. So let's listen. We have a rising, then another. Then as soon as the drop, we just have lots of new random basses being played. Like at this section alone, there's like 4 different basses playing. It's very crowded in the mix, and it's very hard for anyone to figure out what to pay attention to. So when I say main motif, there should be like a star of the show, and then the other basses that are playing should literally support it. You can't just have multiple basses playing at the same time. If they do, they can clash with each other, and that's what's happening. There's multiple rhythms, different speeds playing at the same time, so that's an issue. And then just in general, if you're not EQing a lot, then they're going to have frequency clash also. Like, we have a lot of changes in this little section. So that's too much changes going on. There is an old genre called complextro that used to go on, and this is what it reminds me of. Like, every bar, there's like a change in sound. It just sounds very unnatural, very odd. You definitely want to work on your sound design and getting really strong motifs, like a main theme for the song, and then figuring out good flow and supporting basses around that, rather than just getting all kinds of different basses. Less is really more. You don't need that many basses to create a nice full drop. Cool. Nice trappy song though. Good job with the trappy. Keep on going. Keep on with that flow. All right. That was Cavito with Apocalypse. Up next, we have Stunna with Artificial Intelligence. No master. Loud only. Let's get it done.
This critical moment, the world as we know it is under siege, and we can no longer ignore the minor threat. The forces of technology and artificial intelligence have advanced to a point where they pose a significant danger to humanity. Now, this unity, once a source of triumph, has been fractured by the pursuit of power and greed. This relentless pursuit has led us down a treacherous path. We must stand. intelligence. Critical moment. Mine and Tower is upon us. Power has arrived. Fate of our world hangs in the balance. It is the last standing battle. We must stand before the match shines. Oh, yes. Mine and Tower is upon us. We must stand.
Is upon us. Hour has arrived. Fate of our world hangs.
That is Artificial Intelligence by Stunna. Where is the... There it is. Look at that cover art. Nice and anime. Very good. Okay, so the song's very... It caught me at the intro.
The forces of technology once a source of Trump.
Nice vibe is set. Great atmosphere, great ambiance.
The pursuit of power and greed.
When we get here, it's a really nice breakdown. This is the type of build-up we want to hear. This is nice and full. We have the bass being teased, being filtered and opening up. This is huge in adding energy. Plus we have all the right drums and the frequency spectrum filled.
We must.
Now it's actually sounding pretty professional up to this point, up until the drop. As soon as we hit the drop, it starts to sound like the quality has went down because we had so much energy build up here, and then when you release it, it's not released properly. It's actually released straight into the response. So if you listen here.
We must.
So we have the pre-drop.
We must.
And then the drop is right here. This is the downbeat of the first phrase. So the first 4 bars is going to be the first phrase. And basically within this phrase, we would need to have enough movement to keep the listener engaged. If you just throw them straight into the main motif, which is this response. And then you just, if there's no call and fill section, then it becomes very repetitive in every phrase thereafter. So the first phrase will sound fine, not repetitive, but the phrases after will start to sound repetitive because there's a lack of call and response. So when I say call and response, you basically would have a sound here playing at a different rhythm, like a slower speed, and then you get into the fast speed. So it'd go like pre-drop.
We must.
The call would be right here. So
we must.
You go like brah,
We must.
brah, and then
We must.
Oh, don't. Then you have your fill here. So basically you have a call bass here, fill bass here, and then every 4 bars after that, that's how you'll be doing the flow. You have call, response. When we build up to the drop here and get thrown in straight to this response, it feels very abrupt and awkward, and we actually lose all the flow as soon as it happens.
We must.
It's literally like 2 different sections. It doesn't transition properly. You really need to work on getting yourself a nice call in here. That's like the introductory sound to actually set everything off. And if you use any reference tracks, songs that you love, you'll start to see patterns in the way they do their calls and responses to create energy, but most importantly, get a perfect transition from build up to drop. This is the most important part of your song, the first drop. You built so much tension and energy to get to this point. It cannot be resolved incorrectly. It has to be released and resolved in a perfect way. The audience listened for a very long time to get to this point, to the drop. So you really have to deliver.
We must.
As soon as the response starts to, you have a bass come in right away, which just adds mud. It's clean right here with just the quarter notes. And then see how they come in fast by themselves. But we have basses like playing at the same time as your main quarter notes. Dun, 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 dun. That's just creating, they're like competing for the frequency spectrum. It's muddy. It sounds like they're clashing. You definitely want to clean those things up and be aware of all those basses in the background that could be competing with your main ones. Yeah, so like this whole section becomes super repetitive and predictable. We can literally predict what's going to happen next because you do the same flow over and over again on each phrase. But if you just did the call response fill, then every 4 bars would sound new and different to the listener, and they would keep listening. The energy would keep growing over time till the breakdown. The only really decent phrase you have here was be this one.
Moment.
And you can hear you have a call. So like a bass at the beginning, introductory.
Moment.
See, you're going back and forth between basses, and that's how people dance here. So you're going to this one, back to that one, and then basically this technique, the call and the response, should be implemented in every single phrase of all your drops. So you have 2 32-bar drops. Every 4-bar section in both 32-bar drops need to be improved with the call and response flow, and then this whole song will increase in energy. And then lastly, you just need to make sure you have more dynamic, so more silence. If it's loud for the whole time, our ears need to rest. So in some of these end phrases, you'll cut up some silence, add like a cool vocal fill or a drum fill, and then you can go back and forth between loudness and quiet. And those intense dynamic shifts are what makes people go crazy. They be going so crazy. All right, Senna, good job. That's what I'm talking about. That was pretty decent. Just need to work on flow. Your intro sounded amazing, and that's one of the hardest parts too. I don't usually hear something that sounds this professional for the intro, so good job. Keep on grinding, bro. Got this. Up next, we have Okram, or Okram, with Mausoleum, WIP. It's a work in progress. Let's go and check it out for the checkout. Like that crow, bro. Woo. Ooh.
Switch.
Ooh. That's cool, man. That sounds dark. Let's go.
Welcome. It's a mausoleum. Let's go.
Say your prayers. Okay. Cool. Let's outcome my mausoleum, and it sounds like someone had their muerte master clan. I'm just calling it how I see it. I hear the sounds. I hear the flows. I can feel it. But I must say, dude, this intro is super dark, super nice. Built a lot of tension, dude. Added those crows for very... You set a really good atmosphere. It's almost like a movie. Very awesome. Build up is, you know, pretty weak. The drums, there should be more. Kick is very low. Definitely want to work on your build to add more energy and build up more tension. And then this is not a pre-drop. It's very odd that you let the sweep play during your pre-drop. The pre-drop is meant to signify that there's a dynamic shift. Remember, when it's, think of horror movies, really quiet, and then boom, it gets super loud. That is what creates fucking intense energy and crazy impact. So that's what has to happen. That's why so many pre-drops are just a vocal, because a vocal is close to silent. It's just the vocal, nothing else is playing, and then we get boom, transitioned into that loud drop. And then this right here. This is like your call, and it sounds very empty, very quiet. You want to make sure that this is layered a little bit more. It sounds almost filtered out, or like something's off. But you really want this to be balanced with what's coming up next. That sounds pretty good. This one sounds good because it's in the middle of the drop, but this one, since it's at the beginning of the drop, sounds a bit awkward. So just like layer this with maybe a mid bass one shot, fill the frequency spectrum a little more in this, and then boom, you can transition easy into all the next stuff. And then in these sections, it's sounding very empty. There's like huge space available in the frequency spectrum for all the mids. You literally only have low sub playing and high frequencies. There's like no mids. very empty. We got some mids coming in now. So you gotta like compensate. If you're gonna remove the mids, you gotta like make sure you fill them up with a different instrument, a different sound, so that the frequency spectrum doesn't sound empty. Otherwise, this is pretty good. One of the main things though is that the flow that you have becomes very repetitive. If you look at how Muerte does, he has some sections where they're going really fast and he increases the speed of his flow. You don't really do that at all with your main motif. You do have a fast bass supporting the main motif. So yeah, I mean, watch Muerte's masterclass and listen to the song that he made. Every 4 bars has so much different variation. So we cannot have this be predictable. At this point, it's pretty predictable. And it sounds like the drops are the same exact thing. So I don't know. If you're using Muerte's method, his method is made to create an infinite possibilities, basically. With his method, you'll be able to sound design new ways, pitch in new ways, and create like unlimited tones and unlimited sounds. So there should be no reason that the second drop is the same as the first drop when using this type of method. It's real easy to experiment and get new sounds. You have to keep trying. Pretty decent, man. Pretty decent song. Gotta say, good job. Very nice theme. I can see the direction. Has mad potential. Keep on grinding, my guy. Keep on grinding. Good job. Up next, we got Suspect with Steel. I love this cover art. Looking dope. Get in.
Suspect.
With a big
Run that back.
Now look who creepin', look who crawlin', still ballin' in the mix. It's that 6'6" long dick slim nigga sticking your chick, pulling tricks, looking slick at all times when I'm flipping, bar sipping, car dipping, Grantwood gang dripping, still tipping on.
Suspect.
With a big open, so hoping.
Boom, boom, boom. Steel tubing. Alright, man. Great vocal choice, first off. But I'm very disappointed because the timing of the vocal is off. And whenever you hear a vocal timing that's not on beat, that's a big issue. You know, that's a cardinal rule. is to get your vocals in time with your songs. Let's go ahead and listen here.
Now look who creeping, look who crawling, still ballin' in the mix.
Like you can tell his voice is like delayed and he's not rapping perfectly on the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now look who creeping, look who crawling, still ballin' in the mix.
Just count the 1, 2, 3, 4 and then you can like tell.
Now look who creeping, look who crawling, still ballin' in the mix.
Like when he says in the mix, like he's too slow. He needs to be, every syllable has to be perfect on time. And Ableton's warping method is so good. So literally you would just do this. Still tipping, BPM. I'm sure you have the acapella right now. The tempo is 143 or 72 beats per minute. Then you type in 143 and you make sure that you get it perfectly on grid. After you get it perfectly on grid, then you need to move the vocal so that he's rapping perfectly on time with your song. Because right now, this is drastically reducing the energy of the song by this being off of time. We're not in perfect harmony. Like right here, we're really off time. It's sad, you know, because this has a lot of potential.
Suspect.
This right here, still tipping right before the drop, so sick.
Suspect.
Cool. And then when we get to the drop, this is bass music, you know, so the sub should be prominent front and center. Unfortunately, the other main basses are much louder and much more up in the mix than your sub. So you really need to get your sub fatter, thicker, and balanced out with all the mid basses that are playing. Lack of silence is really hurting you too. You really should have silence fills and stuff like at the end of phrases.
With a big,
the only silence we have are these vocal. And then when we get to the end, the lack of silence is causing disruption. So it sounds very repetitive. And we're so used to all these loud frequencies playing, there's no breaks of silence. So our ears start to adjust and get used to all the loudness, and then the energy levels start to die down. All you would need to do is have these silent fills to add dynamics in the drop to increase energy levels and keep the listeners engaged. I really recommend you do those things for show. Get in that for show, you know? Otherwise, good job, Suspect, with Steel, with the rhythm function music. Very fun. Up next we have, what is this? 11 Continental Zai. Man, dude, your names, guys. Okay, we got Inferis. We are going to get it done.
Sex, I'm chilling with it. Kill the fella.
Yes. Is it Inferis or Inferis?
Yes, I'm chillin' with it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Get the fuck out that way. Get the fuck.
I love when it resolves on the root note like that, man. That's feeling cool. Okay, well, so that is Inferis by, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but it's Xicotnktl. This is pretty decent. We set the stage with all this darkness. It's almost like you're in space with some darkness. This is all cool, but once we get to the build-up, there's a lack of low frequencies, lack of sub frequencies. It sounds very empty, very low energy right here compared to the intro. Definitely get a kick build in there.
Yes, I'm chillin' with it.
And then the overall flow right here is just kind of not hitting. So you have good call and response. Like you did a nice call, you're transitioning, but as soon as we get to the response, the flow starts to dwindle down. Like you switched up too fast right here. The drop just started. There shouldn't be a switch up right away. You should really let some quarter notes play, the main rhythm. There's just a lot of speed. And the sus in the background is not really supporting what's going on. It's just being sustained. When really the sustain should be dynamically switching with these. So when these get quiet, the sustain should get quiet with it. But the sustain is just playing constant in the background. So it's kind of taking up the mix and it's starting to sound crowded. It gets really crowded right here. Lots of different sounds playing at the same time, but the most critical thing that needs to be fixed is the Vox chant in the back. It is so loud and taking up so many frequencies. It needs to be EQ'd and turned down. Hear that? Oh, right here. That Vox chant is louder than everything else in the mix. And that should tell you right away that we have some problems. I love this sound right here. This flow right here, it sounds clean. But then it gets messed up by the vocal chant. Yeah, so it's just, there's little dynamic shifts that you got going here from loud to quiet, but the vocal chant is making that not possible. So you really want to fix that vocal chant. Same thing in here. The vocal chant's going on a lot with all the other noises. So you really want to balance it out. And remember, less is more. Not too many basses playing. It'll get too crowded. And right here, like the way he says 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the section you put it in definitely does not sound natural. Like his vocal timing should have started here. You just did a huge build-up, so the vocal timing should be at a specific time. See, like it's super delayed. It should start as soon as this. Yeah, so I would just really restructure the timing of the 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 because it sounds very awkward in this phrase. You can make it a longer fake out, or you can have the 1, 2, 3, 4 start right when the pre-drop starts, and have it drop right here. Like right there where the snare hits. So you have different options that you can try. But right now the energy levels feel pretty awkward transitioning from this 1, 2, 3, 4 to that bass. Yeah, working on dynamics just in general, using more silence, really getting things moving from loud to silent will help you a lot, and you'll see dramatic improvements if you focus on that. And then lastly, just make sure you layer more mid basses. Like lots of high basses are playing and lows. You got low sub and high basses, but there's not really any mid basses. Very thin. You want to layer more so that the frequency spectrum is full. If the sub is really loud, then your mid basses should be really loud as well to get the full frequency spectrum filled, my guy. So we'll get it done. All right, we got 3 more songs. I need to go get some water real quick. I'll be right back for the one time.
Yes. And what is that? I am not completely like other people.
What do you mean by that?
People dislike me because I am not completely like them.
And in what way are you different?
This influences my thinking and consequently my actions.
What is it you're trying to do with your life?
I am trying to do with my life something which few people
We are back in business. Alright guys, we got 3 more submissions left. We're about to get into the final countdown. Let's get it done. Up next, we have Splits, coming in with a track called Adonis, collabing with Splits, dash, hot, parentheses, whip, V5, parentheses out. Let's get it done. Hot. Hot. Hot, hot. Hot.
Like a parked car. I sound weird like a nigga with a hard R. Ride like the logo on my cousin's Ford. Okay, it's childish, can't be no older. Drop it like the NASDAQ. Move white girls like it's coke on my ass crack. Move black girls, cause man, fuck it, I'm too either. I love pussy, I love bitches too. That should be running Peter in Adidas and some short. People all over me. My green is where it's supposed to be. Your green is in my grocery. This Asian dude, I stole his girl and now he got that Koji beef. My dick is like an accent mark. It's all about me. Hot like a
Hot like a. Build up to. Hot like a muffin ball. Boom, 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 boom. Sorry guys, I'm making my own song. I'll stop. That was Adonis coming in with splits, making hot. This is the 5th version of the WIP. And I gotta say, we have some clean sounds in here. The bass, the sub is nice and clear up front. I'm really liking the way it sounds. We have a vocal plane in the drop, which could cause issues, but they were able to mix it down so that everything feels like it has space and blends together. Let's listen. Hear how clear the vocals sound? Now in front and up front, I should say, the main basses. Just a clean mix will make things like the energy levels get improved significantly with a clean mix like this. Good fake out, good dynamic shifts from quiet to loud. Yeah, so really the only thing I would really recommend is getting your intros definitely to the minimum level. So like -12 LUFS should be the quietest your song should be. Right now we're looking at -22. This is just way too quiet. -24. People will automatically skip this and go straight to the drop, and you don't want that to happen. You want it to be -12. It should be loud enough, not super quiet. And then once we get, and then we just slowly increase in volume as soon as we get to the drop. Your drop is at -7. It could be a little bit louder, like -5. You can push it to, but right now it's sounding clean in the single digits. So this is pretty nice. And then like the fills, just a sub for a fill is very lazy. You guys should really be getting creative with these fills to add more energy and really create more movement and danceable rhythms in this song. If the sub is playing this whole time, at the end of the drop, the sub will become very predictable, repetitive, and it will have less energy. So silence will go a long way. Every time we hear silence, we get introduced to the sub new again, our ears get refreshened, and that will create more danceable rhythms and more energy for this song. So drum fills, vocal fills, just don't have the sub play. Basically, cut the sub, work with silence in little sections so you can go back and forth between loudness and quiet, and work on your dynamics. It's really important. Otherwise, good job. It's sounding clean, man. It's pretty hard to get your vocals and drop sounding clean like that, so I'm happy. Up next, we have got with, you already know, ID. Let's get it done. Hands in the air. Microphone in the hand. Headphone on the forehead. Let's go. That was Shogot coming in with ID. Now this song basically has potential, but we are lacking two really critical and important things. And one of the main things is dynamics. So basically in the drop, we're just hit with a wall of noise. You can even kind of see if we zoom out, it just starts to get bricked up. It's too loud and it's not good clean gain. It's pretty harsh on the ears, so you have to be careful with layering and getting things loud. It's starting to sound loud enough, but if it's not clean gain, then it's really not worth it. The melody is unfortunately not catchy. It seems like you don't know exactly what notes you're choosing. I don't think you're fully versed on like the fifths and your octaves and like how to move between notes, because you play the same melody the whole time. This may be an audio loop or something. It's just very odd that you would play the same melodic motif for this long. It starts to get very repetitive, very predictable. And on top of that, you play it during this pre-drop. It's just not sounding good right here. This should be silent. It should not have the repetitive sound that played for a minute beforehand. This should be a transition section from loudness to quiet to a distinct drop. But unfortunately, there is no transition. It's actually like this, the melody is sustained and still playing, so it never ends. Like that tone of the melody is not blending with your guns. And then on top of that, the tone of the melody sounds so overused by this point because we just listened to it on loop, on repeat for a very long time before your drop. So these are things that you definitely want to be aware of. The energy levels in the drop have reduced significantly because of that looping melody here. It should definitely not be playing this long. You want to make sure every 4 bars of your drop is significantly changing and moving from one another. Those are your main phrases. Right now, it's just like one big phrase. So like even in your fill section, it doesn't sound like a fill because the melody is just controlling the whole mix, and that's the main thing you're paying attention to. There's no dynamics. There's no difference between loudness and quiet. And because of that, there's a lot of issues that are coming up here. So really work on your dynamics, loudness to quiet. There should be dynamics every 4 bars. So you can work within 4-bar sections to start adjusting things as needed. And when it comes to music theory, look at this. The notes you're going to be choosing should be the most important notes. So the root note, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th. More specifically, the 2 most important notes are your home. This is number 1, the most important, and then your 5th note. That's your perfect 5th. So you should be using the majority of the time 1 and 5. Then you can sprinkle in 3 and 7, the next most important notes, then sprinkle in the other notes so that you can actually have, intervals that sound good. Because right now, if you wrote this in MIDI, the intervals sound too close to each other, not enough dynamic change in the melodic content. Yep, so just work on adding counter melodies, working with silence with your melodies, and making sure it's not predictable. It'll help a lot, definitely. It'll sound professional after you make those fixes. Good job, though. Shogot with ID. Up next, we have Fuse, or maybe it's Few 5e. I don't know, but I'm calling him Fuse. It actually is Fuse. He has a fuse on his picture, so that makes sense. I have no idea what I'm doing. WIP is the title. Let's get it done for the get done. Last track. If you guys stay this long, man, you guys are the real OGs. This is the longest stream I've done. The most feedback I've given per song. My mouth is dry. Yeah. That's how we get it done. This reminds me of Skrillex. I like that. Cool. So this, you know, the bass line needs to be worked on here. Feeling very awkward, not enough movement. Plus it's pretty loud, that main bass thing. That. So remember, like I said earlier, first, third, fifth, use those notes. Don't just randomly pick notes in your scale. You want to use the most important notes because it'll make it a lot easier. And then this fake out is just way too long. So like it should drop, you know, somewhere around here, but you faked it out too long. I thought that was a drop plane. I didn't know what was going on. It was very awkward. And the drop just comes in so random. Remember, you're building tension in the buildup and you're releasing it at a perfect time so that we hit the maximum energy level. Fakeouts are literally meant to increase the energy level even higher than the buildup, but your fakeout is doing the exact opposite. It is making the energy level go down over time, and then we get thrown into the drop randomly. So there's basically no need for the buildup. It's very awkward. So make sure you fix the timing of your fake out so that it blends perfectly to the drop, and you'll have to listen to your build up to kind of understand what timing would be best. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it should drop around here. So you'll basically need to try different fake outs, work in 4-bar sections, and you'll be able to find it out. Your hi-hats, you need more rides. There's like not enough tss, tss, tss. There should be a ride on every quarter note to keep the energy high. And then a lot of these sounds, like these background, the little vocals, is really crowding up the mix and shouldn't really be there. We can't really hear the guns anymore because of that. So that vocal thing is just crowding up the mix. So I'd really readjust that as well. Get it fitted in. That's it, man. That's how we get it done, my guys. I'm glad you came to the feedback stream 40. I hope you learned a lot. There's a lot of tips and tricks I went over. Call and response, layering, song structure. You guys are doing good. Keep grinding. DM me or hit me up on Discord if you need help or have questions about anything. When I have time, I'll help you. Dripment.com is my new website. I have sample packs. So many new things on there that you guys can look at, purchase, and you can book sessions, book lessons, and look at all my content. So enjoy. Thank you for coming and subscribing. You guys are amazing. Stay fresh. Keep it real. And I'll see you later.